ID Alliance presents this week's short attention span sales tip. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to Kelly Malazzi over there.
Hi.
Hey, I grabbed Kelly so that we could have a two-headed conversation with you this morning, Brady Bunch style. A lot of you know Kelly. Kelly and I have collaborated for eons. And Kelly was an old client of mine that we just stayed in touch. Kelly writes one of the best blogs in the world on piworld.com next to mine. I love her blog style. You should definitely be following her. And she owns Success in Print. So I asked Kelly to come on, and she's going to stop by and do a few sessions, and we're gonna record them all today, and I'm going to throw them in as time goes by. So Kelly, thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
This is what this new style allows, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to have some other guest speakers on here with me. So today we're going to talk about really it's communication, Kelly. And we're going to talk about when to email, when to call, when to visit, when to Skype, when to text. There are so many different kinds of communication these days.
Yeah.
You know, back before the earth cooled, back there was just telephone, basically. You know, we could stop by, but fax machines were called telecopiers, and that wasn't really a way to communicate. Although, Kelly, I did have one customer who worked for the state of Massachusetts, the Office of the Jury Commissioner, send me a purchase order via telecopier, and then he sent me right after that a warrant for my arrest in case I missed the delivery date. True story. So that's
Oh my gosh.
strong communication. But
Wow.
You know what? It was a lot more, life was a lot more face-to-face. Sales was a lot more face-to-face. And then we had voicemail. You know, it was the answering machines, and then there was voicemail. Then there was caller ID. And
Don't forget
cell phones-
pagers.
Right, yeah. You know, cell phone came along, and there was less and less face-to-face, and there's more and more written communication. The danger with this, Kelly, is you well know, because you write wicked good. The danger in this is that the written word is far more powerful than the spoken word, right? And that's, in fact, my daughter Madeline, my youngest, whom you know and love dearly, Madeline has a t-shirt that says, "Let's eat grandma." The next line says, "Let's eat, comma, grandma." And then it says, "Commas save lives." She wears that proudly. So there are times that you want to pull out and play each card. And we're going to go to a deeper dive and talk about each one. So Kelly, if I was delivering bad news, your job is screwed up, your job is going to be really, really late, what's the best form of communication for that?
I mean, if it's geographically possible, I think you want to go and see that person so that they can, see and appreciate your demeanor and your being very, very sorry. If you're not in the same town or it's not drivable or however, the case may be, that's definitely something you want to make a phone call. And that's probably the kind of thing that I would page that person before I would leave a voicemail. I would definitely do everything in my power to connect with that person voice to voice before I would go into some of the lesser desirable points of communication.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. You know, I was always taught that you deliver bad news face-to-face. What if somebody sent you an email and said, "Could you ballpark a price for me?" First of all, you and I don't like ballparking.
No.
But beside the point, you need to give someone some parameters on a job. How do you commit that price?
I mean, I think pricing always wants to go in the written form. I think. I mean, I would want to put together a formal, whatever my template was for quotes that I present to all my clients. I would want to give that, and that would mean that I would need all the specs before I would go off kind of half-cocked and give them something that they're gonna. If you say a number out loud out of your mouth, they're gonna remember that number. And when you give them a number that then is based on all of the facts after you've gathered them, and that number is $3,000 higher, there's going to be a problem.
Oh, there's going to be a he said, she said.
Right, exactly. So I would always say you want to put that in writing and be as descriptive and thorough and take your time and make sure you don't make any mistakes. I mean, Bill, how many times have we talked to clients who said, "Oh man, I forgot a zero," and these are things that people deal with all the time. Like, take your time, you will make less mistakes.
So what about, and here's an old school question for you, because this used to be harder for me. Calling someone's cell phone versus calling their office phone. Now, I remember the days when cell phones were not digital, they were analog, and everybody sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
And so you didn't call people necessarily from your cell phone. That's not a problem anymore.
Right.
But is it intrusive? Do we call their cell? Do we text them? Is that too personal, Kelly?
I think it depends on the level of the relationship, but you may find that a prospect or a client has said in their outgoing voicemail, if you need to reach me urgently, you can call me on my cell phone. Or you may speak to a colleague of theirs who says, he's out in the field, but it's okay to call his cell phone. If you're in those initial stages of the relationship, so to speak, I would think you would need some sort of permission or invitation to reach out to their mobile device. But if this is more of a customer service issue and this is a long-standing client, I wouldn't have any hesitations about calling a cell phone. And even as we're speaking right now, Bill, I think that more and more and more people are relying on their mobile technology more, and it is not uncommon to text someone you don't know. And if they're not a client, but you're heavily prospecting them, I always say, why not? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? You could insult them by texting them. I mean, there's something to be said for that being very persistent and aggressive. So,
Kelly, I had an interesting event recently. You and I both do coaching. And I heard through the grapevine from this woman's boss. She said, she didn't connect with you. And I'm looking at my notes like, well, that's really? I was very surprised. So I said, well, let's do a Skype. We'll do a FaceTime, as it turned out, through our iPhones. What a difference that made for her. And I don't do a lot of this. Now, you and I using a call recorder software through Skype to record this, but I don't typically have Skype conversations. And I totally encourage people to get out there and do it. Even if it's somebody across town, it makes such a difference seeing someone face to face.
Yep.
Right. And so it's almost a pecking order. This might be if I can't come see you, let's have a Skype conversation so I can deliver the bad news to you. When else might you use Skype? When does it really benefit?
Well, again, as we're talking about the technology and our relationships to the technology are evolving, I don't know that there's ever a situation where it wouldn't be appropriate to at least try it.
Right.
I mean, what's the harm in saying like, hey, do you want to have a quick 6-minute Skype chat?
Yeah.
Like they could say no, but I mean, everybody's got cameras built into their laptops now. And it might just be that kind of thing where, you may even just say like, I had this promotion once where I was sending out $5 Starbucks cards, and I was saying like, let's have a cup of coffee. So you say like, let's jump on Skype. You'll have your coffee. I'll have my coffee. We'll have a cup of coffee together, even though you're in California and I'm in Connecticut, Sure. So I just think there aren't any rules anymore. I think you should try anything and everything at your disposal to leave a lasting impression.
And that's a real differentiator. But I mentioned earlier, my daughter Madeline, as you know, she goes to school in Shanghai. And I tell you what, when she calls me and we have a face-to-face, I do not miss her as much as I would have with just an email or maybe just an occasional phone call. But the fact that I can see her face-to-face and pay attention, she usually calls me. There's a 12-hour difference. So she calls me and it's 5:30 in the morning and I'm at my desk and my hair is like like this. And I dread when one of her friends walks by the camera. But it really does make a difference. And it does help to cement that bond with a customer. And remember, it's very important. You know what? You need to see your customers face to face as much as possible. That makes a big difference. So let's see. So Kelly, we've covered email and calls and text messaging might be, as you say, it depends on the level of the conversation. Cell phone use, Skype, FaceTime. There's so many different. I want to repeat a couple of things. One is that the written word is more powerful than the spoken word. Be very careful if you are not a good writer and you're trying to put something into the written word, even if it's just an email. I saw an email that went out yesterday to a group of salespeople that said, guys, your emails make no sense. Now, I've got this great big microphone in front of me here. I use voice recognition software. And we've all had that, what's it, Damn You Siri? That book?
Yeah.
And you got to go through and double check this stuff.
Right.
We're on the move so fast. So one of the other messages is be careful. Be careful what you commit to writing. Reread it. If there's any chance that it can be misconstrued, no.
I even think it's a good idea to send the email to yourself first so you can see what it's going to look like to the other person when it comes through, and read it out loud, literally read it out loud. And do pay very close attention to grammar and spelling because we're in the industry of putting, ink on paper or ink on substrate. We should, we should be the ones that don't make mistakes where that's concerned. So
it's a big deal. You're right.
Yeah.
Because if we're not paying attention to how we're communicating, they might say, well, how much is he going to pay attention to the proof or the
Right.
job itself? It's like being chronically late. What kind of message does that send? Hey, there's a subject for another sales tip.
Yes.
All right, so listen, I'm going to include Kelly's contact information so that you can reach out to her if you are interested. I definitely encourage you to go on to PI World, look under blogs, and read the fabulous Kelly Malazzi. Kelly, thanks so
You're
much.
too kind. Thanks, Bill.
And we will talk to you all again on another sales tip. Bye.
Bye.